So today, we got a lot to cover here. We will be discussing the end of the dispute between the Orioles and the Nationals and MASN that was just resolved today, and also some news about Roansy Contreras coming up on this episode of the Talkin O podcast. Hey there, Orioles fans. Today is March 3rd, 2025, and welcome back into the Talkin O's podcast. As always, I'm your host, Evan, long time no see, because I was on a hiatus. And coming up on today's episode, we will be discussing the end of the dispute between the Orioles, Nationals, and the MASN TV channel. Also discuss a little bit about Roansy Contreras possibly becoming a starter for the Orioles. So if you did not hear this morning, the Orioles and the Nationals announced this morning, if you are watching this on another day of the week, it is a Monday, that their television rights fees from MASN have reached a resolution. Per the release of that news, the Nationals and MASN have agreed on a 1-year deal for their 2025 broadcasts, and after the 2025 season, they can explore other options for broadcasting. They could do a little something like the Rangers did with their Rangers Sports Network, which is kind of the local area surrounding the area where they play at, Texas, Arkansas, Oklahoma, that total area. This statement lays out all the disputes related to past media conflicts between the Orioles and the Nationals and MASN have all been resolved, and that conflict has been dismissed. The dispute has been long going, dating all the way back to MASN's formation in 2005. The Nationals did need a TV network to broadcast their games when they moved from Montreal to Washington, D.C., and the Orioles also went to court for rights distributions for the 2017-2021 seasons. Moving on, let's go ahead and talk about Roansy Contreras. So Brandon Hyde told the media on February 27th that he would be trying to build up Roansy Contreras to be a starter this spring training, although last year he did work a relief role with the Pirates and Angels. It's not really clear how long he will last on this roster. He has moved from 5 teams this offseason. So far, the Orioles have claimed him twice. Most recently, they grabbed him from the Yankees in early February. So Contreras is out of options, so he will need to be sent through waivers. So far, no team has gotten through the waiver wire untouched. There isn't really a path for Contreras in the starting rotation. You got Dean Kramer, Grayson Rodriguez, Charlie Morton, Tomoyuki Sagano, and Dean Kramer. You can also add in Albert Suarez or Cade Pavich, if any of them go on the IL. Trevor Rogers and Chase McDermott have all been delayed by injuries, so they are probably not going to be ready for opening day, in which we are really close if you are watching this on this Monday, March the 3rd. You got 25 days till opening day. You also got Andrew Kittredge, Sir Anthony Dominguez, Gregory Soto, Cianel Perez, and also Albert Suarez when the starting pitcher isn't injured. Possibly he could fill in for that starting rotation role, or it could be Cade Pavich. It might switch around between the two, but I'm not really sure how it would go in the regular seasons. But Suarez would most likely fill a long relief role for the Orioles. Sorry if you couldn't hear that. It was mostly fill a long relief role for the Orioles, as there isn't really a spot for him in the rotation, with a rotation currently being cluttered at the moment, as I said earlier. There's currently a chance that the Orioles will waive Contreras before opening day. If he does go unclaimed, he could work a starting pitching role in AAA Norfolk. Contreras was mostly a high-regarded prospect coming up to the majors. He pitched 68 and 1/3 innings with a 4.35 ERA a year ago. He also recorded an 18.8% strikeout rate while walking 10.4% of the batters he faced. He also worked as a starter in his Pittsburgh days, and in 2022-2023, he did post a sub-5 ERA and 163 1/3 innings. He also does throw 6 distinct pitches per his StatCast page. So he does have a relatively deep pitch arsenal, though he does have problematic command, and the reason why is that none of his top 4 pitches, he's got a 4-seam slider, He's got a first-team fastball, a slider, a changeup, and a sinker. Were not the best. They were not the best weapons on his arsenal last season. So Contreras' slider, out of those 4 pitches, was the one to miss bats at an above average rate. But that will do it for this episode of the Talkin O podcast. I will be back. I will be back once a new piece of Orioles news comes out, or I might do a spring training game recap if that is possible. But until then, I'm Evan, and this has been the Talkin O's podcast.